they just sandwich themselves.
Exactly.
You know, the standard level of pug awareness means that suddenly I'm flanked by people I think should never really have flanked me in the first place, or they should get horribly punished when they try to do so.
Definitely so, man. Like I know it's a lot of cool, but it has a lot of potential. And from what we were talking about the last 2 times about this map, is we always thought it was gonna be like a NASCAR, and I've not found any games where it's been a NASCAR, to tell you the truth.
I had.
Hey, Larsh Reality says you're not streaming like anymore.
Oh, really?
The stream is crashing.
Oh.
So yeah, I wanted to chime in on that whole pack situation that you guys mentioned. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to the map in a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Because right now I have not had a single match where the whole team actually worked together. Someone always split up, and it ended awful.
Teamwork is a lost art.
Yeah, winning on this map for me is really rare and really hard.
Well, the thing is, like with
that as well. I tend to go off on an adventure, and for some reason the team always follows me. And so we get this really interesting thing where it's like, okay, well at least the whole team's here, but we're all doing something stupid. Why did everyone follow me?
I would say in Puglandia, at least, you get a very Crimson Strait situation going on, in the sense that in Crimson Strait, often whole fights are decided by a team pushing or one team holding ground and trading really well. And at least on Oasis, sometimes you have where the whole team forms a ball and they just go careening around the map, crashing into whatever they find in front of them. And sometimes that careening wrecking ball gets poked to death, or that careening wrecking ball, nobody bothers poking it, and it just crashes through mech after mech after mech, with everybody going, "Where's the fight? I don't see what's going on. There's a whole blob of reds over there. I'm going to go to the other platform now."
Yeah, actually, like, I've been noticing too. Like I'll hold one position, thinking everyone's behind me, but in reality, though, they're right above me or right below me, and I'm holding that one spot, going, "Yay, this is cool!" Like and I'm looking behind me. There's no one behind me. I was like, "What the hell's going on?" But they're underneath me or like above me, fighting on like like on top or below, and I'm not realizing this. So really have to pay attention, like on that map. So many times I'm like, "Oh God, there's 4 guys on me. No shit, what's gonna happen?" I mean, it's a good map, and I definitely do like it, and I think PGI did a good job on it, though.
I think the big huge selling point, as I said, is that with the Tourmaline, people really like having, I brought a brawler, I know sort of roughly what I can do. I brought a sniper, I've got some stuff to do. So it's not like Polar Lermlands, where if you brought a brawler, it's pretty difficult for yourself to get yourself into a really good position, unless you've got a good team and you all work together.
Yeah.
But with Tourmaline and with this map, whatever build you're bringing, you can usually at least get some work done. Though I think the most affected are probably Lernboats, a bit like on Crimson Strait, where you're always just above and hoping to find a target you can lock on and slowly burn to death. Though who cares about the Lernboats?
True.
Otherwise, the other thing is, some people do, for their own reasons, like the Crimson Strait verticality, and that is certainly something unique. It's not just short range, long range. It's also people above, people below, jumping down on enemy forces. There's lots of fun stuff you can do with verticality that this map brings that used to be only exclusively available in Crimson Strait.
Yeah, it is definitely a jump jet playground, especially for some of the smaller mechs. I know something Nova or linebacker size, there's a bunch of little places where you can see through gaps, and if you hit the jump jets just right, you can actually squeeze through that gap and end up on top of people.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
There's also spots where you think you're walking across something solid, and the I-beams and stuff drop out from underneath you, and you fall.
Yeah, I love those.
Which
what a where?
they're on the tops of the platforms.
Yeah.
You're kidding?
Yeah, man. Things actually fall apart now.
Did you not?
In the center of the map on the western side of the platform, there's a chunk of tubing that goes across. It blocks all line of sight from down up at you pretty much, but if you tap your jump jets, you can get up on top of that tube and squeeze between the roof of the platform and underneath it. And I think it's intended because, I mean, there is enough of a gap to squeeze a linebacker through it, so...
that's cool.
And then there's like a big open area not far from there where like there's a center like hole between the platform, and it's about 3 or 4 mechs wide and about 8 mechs long, and it's full of these light-colored I-beams, and as soon as you step on them, they break away and you fall through.
Yeah, I would say though, on the verticality thing, I don't think it's like with Mining Collective, even with a couple of jump jets, you can get around on top of a lot of the buildings, and with plenty of jump jets, you can easily scale most of the heights you need to get to. With this one, however, the sheer height of the platforms itself means from ground level you're never actually reaching up top. And there's also similarly the big cliffs that people snipe down from, that sort of surround it. Those are really super uber duper high. It's very few mechs. I imagine maybe if you get a mech with 100-meter jump distance and maximize the jump tree, maybe then you're able to jump up. But even then, that I haven't really seen anyone do that.
Yeah.
So
most of the vertical areas, there's 2 or 3 spots on each of the large verticals where you actually have to stop and sit there and wait for your jump jets to recharge.
Yeah, there are some little places where you can hop up a couple of times, but the big main fighting area, which is in Puglandia, there's a matter of closing the distance and closing the gap.
Yeah.
And that is still possible in more skilled play. For the most part, it's going to be all about snipes, because 2 teams often spawn opposite sides. They go to the tall mountains at opposite ends and just, use large lasers and Gauss rifles and... you can hold a lot of ground, and the aforementioned difficulties with moving around the map, particularly stuff with like jump jets, mean that it's very easy if you have a lot of people who know how to control lanes of fire and control areas of the map. It's not a map where you can actually flank people if you have people who know what they're doing.
Which is
it's a map that make the lazy tryhards with their ingrained shooty platforms very happy.
Yeah, it's just going to be, for the most part, predominantly a snipe fest would be my prediction. Because even in Puglandia, there's a lot of snipe fests going on, whereupon people just, sit on top of the platforms and keep raining down fire until eventually they kill or get killed.
Yeah, true. Anything else on the map, guys?
There has been going around rumors that the red gemstones, particularly on the ground, if you stand on top of them, is colder than the rest of the map. It helps you cool you down. As far as I'm aware, along with rumors that this map is hotter than any of the others, these are all just misnomers.
I'll check that out though. I don't think I don't think PJ is smart enough to go do that though. To tell you the truth. If you check
I think that your mech doesn't. Your mech always has to dissipate the heat generated by walking. So technically, yeah, if you're standing on the rubies, you have better heat dissipation than walking around. Though that's always the case if you're just standing still.
That's interesting. I wonder what the logic is behind that, for in game at least.
Yeah, because nobody. Like the next question is, what are these ruby things?
Yeah,
I prefer to call them red color details.
Rubelite, right? It's called like Rubelite.
Rubelite?
Light or something.
Well, there's a bunch of gemstones that have very similar names, and they're just colored crystals. So they don't really do anything in the real world as far as we're aware, other than bend light in a funny way. Kind of like shining light through a ruby. It's like, oh yeah, that's cute. You've turned a flashlight into a red light. Okay. So whether or not PGI has given the crystals some kind of an actual function will be interesting. I doubt they did though.
Yeah. I imagine to some capacity you could turn them into like silicon or whatever they're made of. But it's always just cheaper to get something that isn't ostensibly precious and rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I did suggest too, on the map, to have at least 1.3 if you can, or just know how to regulate your heat fire, because I've been noticing a lot of people been overheating and alpha striking like crazy, and I was like, okay, there's fresh meat right there.
Yeah, alpha strike is no longer your friend.
No, I found that out the hard way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Some of the heat management borderline mechs, when you alpha strike on that map, you just sit there for a long time. And if someone's paying attention and has the open available heat to punish you, they will, and it's amazing when it happens.
True.
Well, we've at least had plenty of experience on hot maps, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, you always pick them.
Hey,
and then sadly, well, at least for pugs though, since it's an unfamiliar map and it's also hot, it means they get extra courses, which leads to us, a lot more of that kind of feeling frustrated that the team aren't doing anything.
Yeah, and
Part of the reason is just their laser boat's just waiting to cool down.
And also right now, and I'm actually trying to test out this theory about the crystals and cooling down. I don't know. I can't say that I'm seeing a huge difference yet.
Yeah, I can't see any difference personally.
I'll test out later on.
Compared to standing still from firing anywhere and standing still on top of one of the blobs.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
If you walk in this map though, like, is it 9% heat? I thought it was 9% heat for some
About like
reason.
5%, 7%, something like that.
Okay.
Normal maps are about 4 to 5%, I think.
But this one's like 9
10.
or what? 10?
Most of my
When walking
most of my mechs walking on that map are at a 10 when walking.
Yeah, so if I'm walking in
yes.
Caustic Valley, I'm around 10% heat. Walking in this map, I'm 10%. Walking inside the center of Caustic Valley, it's like 15%.
Yeah, because right now I'm walking in a Mist Links, I'm at 9.
Yeah, I'm 9% running around in my Locust right now. Which is the same as Caustic and Therma for me.
Yeah. It might also come down to like the heat dissipation values.
Okay. So with the map though, so we definitely cover the map on different things. In about 2 to 3 weeks, we'll go ahead and come back and say, hey, okay, we now know, everyone jumps to F5 on this type of mode, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
I would say, interesting thing is it's been voted for a lot because it's a new map, but there's also, it's being part of the event.
Right. Ooh, real quick.
10 times I've been getting that map, and that's it.
Yeah, I need to make a real small announcement because I'm stupid. For those of you who are watching and have been seeing that my stream has been going up and down, I now know why. My hotkey for OBS was F5. That is why, and I apologize. For future streams, I will be changing this. So I'm here going into the map, hitting F5, I'm going to the free cam, and then my stream going down. So everyone, it is not a technical issue, it is a potato issue, and I'm sorry. We're back up and live.
Larsh, set your stream commands to plus and minus on your number pad.
Yeah, no one uses those.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue on.
Okay, so I was saying that, people have been voting for it a lot, at least in the initial days, because of an event. Wink, wink, segue.
Yep. I only got it like maybe about 2 out of 10 times, like last night when I was playing, then I was kind of upset about that because everyone's trying to go for like, but of course this is the Puglandia tier 4 and 5, so they don't really know what's going on, I guess.
Well, and it also depends on, they don't want to play on a hot map because they don't know what they're doing yet, so they try to veer away from it. Yeah, exactly. I know the first night, me and Biter and a couple guys played, and I've got 9 out of 10 done already. Jesus. I only played probably 12 games, give or take.
Not bad.
So. Yeah, first night, very, very popular. After that, sometimes people say, oh, there's an event thing going on, I'm going to try and pad my multiplier. And so it's been very frustrating, at least for those trying to get the event done. Funnily enough, at least with playing with others in group queue, it has not actually been appearing that often. Like in single and solo drops, and on the first day, it was just every single time it appeared as an option.
Yeah.
But they put the event on, and for group queue at least, I would play hours without it even appearing.
That's interesting. Huh. Well, who knows? Basically, like, we'll check back in a couple days and see how that is. But I thought BJ learned that lesson from last time they tried this on like you had to go on some map or some event code or something like that to go and finish up the event. No one was picking it. They're just trolling to make sure like no one picks it.
At least they did learn some lesson and increased the chance of it popping up. But it's still a random chance, so
yeah.
It's a random chance of getting the map, then you have to hope that people actually vote for it, and then you have to hope for a win for at least half of the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
At least, though, they are giving a huge bunch of C-bills.
Yeah, and they've also given us 14 days to achieve this, so you only have to play on it 10 times to get the first reward. You only have to get 5 wins on it to get the second reward, and you're being given 14 days to complete it, so...
Mm-hmm.
it's not too terrible.
Grace, yeah,
it's still bad-ish, kind of, depending on how you want to see it, but it's doable also. So,
I mean, always basing something upon the public to go ahead and pick something in order for you to go ahead and finish something is not good at all, because there are a lot of trolls out there. I won't pick it at all.
Hi.
Hey, that's our whole entire group's policy, man.
Exactly.
If you can't hang with the troll.
Don't
so speaking of trolls, wanna talk about the Fairness challenge?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Actually, we'll talk about the 2 challenges, then also the mechs, and then the patch notes, because we didn't get a chance to like last time.
So after patch day, there was also, of course, the Thanatos challenge, which, just like the previous mech pack, is do 1,000 damage with the standard pack mechs each, and was it like 2,000 damage with the hero, and like what 2,000 or 1,000?
So the base package is 1,000 damage. The special model Thanos is 2,000. The hero is 2,000 damage, and then the reinforcement package is 1,000 apiece. You get 2 million C-bills for the reinforcement package. You get a drill power tool for the hero. You get the Dazzle Thanatos. Don't do that one for the special. And then you get 3 million for the standard package.
What's the Dazzle one?
It's the 2-tone camo pattern.
Like zebra stripes?
Goes in not quite zebra stripes. It's triangles mostly.
Yeah, I got that for the Warhammer. I never used it.
It's so ugly. Oh my god, it's ugly. It needs a third color.
It does not look that pretty, typically.
Well, you should give it like any type of mech pattern you want.
Yeah, if it was pick a mech pattern, that would be something that would actually be useful. And, it might encourage people to spend, the extra money to get the special variant so they can have a special camo pattern for their mech of choice.
Yeah, definitely.
But
that you need to do 2,000 points of damage, which I remember from the Night Star was a giant pain.
Yeah.
Oh, the Osiris when they broke the airstrikes.
Don't even mention this.
So for those who don't know, Ian spent what, like 2 million C-bills worth of airstrikes trying to pad his damage numbers in the Osiris to get the event done, and PGI in their infinite wisdom decoupled airstrikes from mech damage for most of that event day.
That sucks.
That was technically isn't using the mech to deal damage.
Technically, but sucks though.
Yeah, me being unable to cheat. Sucks.
It's not cheating. It's called padding. There's a difference.
No cheating for you.
Let's say exploiting. That's something we can agree.
There we go. It's a better, softer terminology.
Yeah, it's fairly standard, and for the most part, I sort of don't mind these events because it does require you actually to use the mechs and do fairly well with the mish. But 1,000 damage isn't too hard, even if you're just doing 100 a match.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, I've done it all in a couple matches each mech. So
how about the daily challenges?
Well, one step at a time, I think. So, who here got the Thanatos pack? I think me and Ian, I assume.
I got it all.
And Aether. So, what are your guys' opinions on it thus far?
So I really like the Thanos because I'm a sucker for a kind of dumb mech. I do wish the arms were more symmetrical to each other, not hardpoint wise, but the way they populated hardpoints and the way they looked. But I mean, I guess I deal with what I've been given to play with. They are lots of side torso, but I have found that so long as you don't twist too hard, a lot of the damage bounces between the center torso and the side torso, so you can extend your life by doing very small twists like you would with a Marauder or a Marauder 2C, which seems really kind of odd because of how big the side torsos are, but pretty much what you're doing is you're trying to shield the side torsos with the CT. I would not run XL engines on them because,
I've had a lot of pleasure killing XL Thanatos.
I personally found, at least in the right, circumstances, you can of course shield fairly effectively with it. However, it does feel a little like the Marauder problem in the sense if there's enemies hard to one side, that side torso is going to get very hard focused down. So you can sometimes use that to your advantage, and in fact, that's a reason to go light engine rather than excel, in my opinion. Sometimes I can just force people to shoot off my left arm, my left side torso, and then through my left side torso, through my left into the CT, and can make it fairly tanky. The only thing is, it still doesn't really necessarily have that many weapon quirks or armor quirks to sort of, like, I think it's a very big, obvious mech, and like whenever you appear, you get quite a lot of taunt basically from enemies. So it doesn't necessarily feel that, like, its hitboxes feel actually quite fine. It's just people like shooting a big giant block. Like,
yeah, the barn door syndrome from the barn door syndrome from the Awesome has transferred to the Thanos very well.
Oh yes, it's very wide.
Yeah, so when people see it, they're just like, I want to kill it.
Yep.
You guys seen like Beast video?
Maybe I can use no Artemis SRM6s on max distance and still hit all of them. That's how big the mech is.
You guys seen like Beast video? Because he pretty much doesn't like it unless it has jump jets to be a Pop-Tart mech.
Well, yeah, that's also kind of the way Beef plays. So
yeah, he just
basically the one really sweet aspect. Yeah, the one really sweet aspect of at least the reinforcement pack is having the 6 SRM4s or 6 SRM6s with Artemis and stealth armor is still funny as hell. Mm-hmm. And the one with the dual ballistic side torsos is gross. It puts the heavy Gauss mounts above the cockpit by probably the length of a Gauss rifle.
Wow.
So
it's nice high mounts. They all have nice high mounts on the torsos. But all those hard points are spread out quite a lot.
Convergence is kind of wonky. It will make an interesting like dual AC-20 or dual LBX-20 mech, though.
Yeah.
I'd say overall, like, at least with the balance, typically PGI doesn't want to make ECM mechs too strong. Like, they sort of done that with the Hellbringer, and that's always going to sort of be strong. But a lot of the others always have awkward hard points or quirks and all that, so that you're actually sort of paying to get that fancy tech. And the Thanatos does still feel quite awkward. However, I think it has a lot of potential still for much more interesting play styles and sometimes other mechs where I feel really limited to what I can do.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and once it gets over the new mech syndrome where it's always auto-targeted as soon as it pops up, it'll be interesting to see how it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
New mech syndrome? I never heard of that.
I started calling it like that as when the Kodiaks came out.
Yeah.
As soon as anyone saw a Kodiak, the entire team would just turn to shoot it. It didn't matter where they were; they would all focus on the brand new mech. Now, granted, Kodiak is kind of
raging down on you.
Yeah, the Kodiak kind of earned it, but still, it's been kind of how I've referred to it since the Kodiak.
It sounds a bit like the gold mech syndrome.
I would generally agree that it's partly gold mech syndrome. It's also just people aren't familiar with the mech. They don't like it being around. They don't know what it's capable of. So get rid of it. Get rid of it.
It's new. It's scary. I don't like it on the battlefield. Shoot it dead.
Nice.
What was another interesting thing about it? One of the Thanatoses has the energy in both side torsos, and I think the CT. It makes for an amazing triple large pulse laser carrier because you also have a ballistic and a missile in the arms, I think.
Oh.
I think. Don't quote me on this, I think.
Yeah. The funny thing with at least its quirkage is, it's all of them got a lot of extra structure, but they usually quirk the weapons it doesn't have so much of. So you have something with 5-6 energy and then a ballistic, a missile, or whatever, and they'll quirk the ballistic and missile, so it's actually worth taking. Which, oddly enough, means when I build it, I just throw on, a big ballistic and a big missile and call it a day.
just make it simple. Call it a day, yeah.
Yeah.
Simple to figure it out, and then you work from there.
And I'm just making use of the quirks rather than just another, in the sphere energy boat. Because they typically do quirk those ballistics and missiles rather than energies on the Thanatos.
Yeah.
I think, the jury's still out and it'll take a while. I don't think it's as screwed over as the poor Night Star or maybe the Osiris. It does it can still do some really fun stuff, and I've had some really good games with it, but it's really difficult managing taunt with the thing. Like I want to wait for a bit until everyone thinks it's a joke, and then I can run around and just own teams with it because they're focusing somebody else.
Well, how fast? How fast are you going in this thing?
Typically, I go like with a standard 300, like 60 kph.
It's not bad.
I've been trying to push it up to at least 70.
Ooh.
And it can take a big engine.
Yeah, right now with the with a light 360, you can go 77.8, and that's without speed tweak.
Yep,
that's dumb.
And I mean, it's really nice for an ECM mech that can carry that. Is almost expected to carry at least like one of the big heavy lifters and that kind of stuff. So it makes it kind of interesting, and it does actually do pretty well with the stock engines in them, as long as they are the light 300s.
What do you guys think on a scale 1 to 10 for that?
I'm gonna go with like a solid 5, 5.5, maybe a 6.
Really?
So it's ugly. Well, it's ugly-ish, mostly because it's a big fat block of invisible steel. But I've actually had a lot of fun playing in it. I do wish more of the hard points were torso mounted, but that's mostly because I've been spoiled with things like I don't know. The Cyclops and that kind of stuff as far as missile boats go. So.
So 5, huh?
Yeah, it's fairly solid. It's no Black Knight.
What's a Black Knight then?
2.
A 2, yeah, definitely.
On release, it was a 0.
Actually, Grasshopper's been about a 7 for me though. Like I've been using a Grasshopper lately, and it's pretty fun to play.
Well,
oh yeah, Grasshopper's good.
It has everything that it needs to be good. It's tall. It has higher mounted energy hard points, and it's fairly easy to build around.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, one thing I would like to say about Defenders before we leave the topic. I took a lot of parallels to Mechwarrior 4 last podcast, and to kind of finish off that arc, it's not even remotely as scary as Mechwarrior 4. Mostly, I think, because the screen shake from receiving the heavy weapons isn't as bad in this game.
Yeah.
No, of course. With Thanatos and Mechwarrior 4 was just it was freakishly scary. But
basically, in Mechwarrior 4, when you got hit by that 30 or 40 Defender set, you would twist around 180 degrees. That's not the case here.
Yeah. Oh god, those are the days. Okay,
so speaking of new mechs, shall we go quickly through the loyalty ones?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do the loyalty Kit Fox first.
Yes, Kit Fox.
Have you guys got a good goal on that thing?
I haven't had time to actually work with it yet, but oh man, it was on the Mechwarrior Online Facebook page. A person had something really good. Let me see if I can find it, but go ahead and talk.
I kind of cannibalized it a little bit. So I took the triple AMS arm and stuck it on there, and then I took the machine gun arm and stuck it on the other side, and then I put SRMs in the torsos. So it's got AMS, missiles, and machine guns. But that's mostly because I'm psychotic and I enjoy the idea of having a bunch of ammo-dependent stuff on my mech.
For me, I took the missile right arm that has narc quirks, put a high narc mount launcher, and then 3 streak 4s. And it's had some success, though I sort of feel always so awkward in the kit box, and just 3 streak 4s is a bit of a light payload.
Yeah, basically, I'm definitely used to the like support AMS one, but I went with 4 medium pulse lasers and an ATM6, and sometimes I'll switch those out, like probably get like a 2 like SRM6s or 4s or something, but that's generally like what the build I've been doing for it.
There's one I want to try here. Is that a person on the Mechwarrior Facebook page said a fun troll build for clan scouting at least. And be a 3 AMS, 3 AMS, ECM, and 4 SRM6s.
I've seen a lot of people run around with mass SRM on the Kit Fox, which is the sort of the obvious answer to go to first. My only issue is just it's sort of like going with mass SRM and an Adder or a Cougar. Yes, you could do it, but they don't always feel necessarily the best brawlers.
Yeah, there are better mechs to do it on.
Yeah.
Still, what I noticed, I'm running the SRM build. I've got 6 SRM6s in here.
6?
Yeah.
It's,
You
you
can
have
do
armor
it.
on that thing, or what?
I've got max armor on it. So the thing is, the mech doesn't have a lot of armor. Period.
Do you run Artemis or no?
No
No,
Artemis.
no.
You don't have the space for Artemis.
Yeah.
6 SRM6s, Jesus.
Yeah.
The thing is, I
other
noticed
issue is
though,
it can't cool.
Yeah, people don't focus the Kitfox. So if you play it well, you can survive really long and pump out your 600-700 points of damage. If you manage to get focused down, you're dead.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It's a slightly worse assassin.
Yeah, for me though, I'm happy with the high-mounted missile pod. I could put Narc there with ECM in that left arm, and that frees up the right arm to give me Narc quirks.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's all I wanted.
Cool.
Oh, and also some jump jets, so I can do some jump
Yes.
snipe Narc and streaking.
Okay.
It is nice to have the torso-mounted missile points for ATMs though, because it gives them that slightly higher exit point on the mech, so you can actually get over some terrain with the ATMs because they fire so flat.
All right,
now
let's-
to the butt plug.
But plug, you mean the urban mech?
Missile Irby.
Yeah, the missile over and how you guys like it. I've been running like a MRM 20 with 2 tons of ammo, 2 jump jets, and then 3 ER medium lasers. It runs a bit hot, especially on the new map, but I've been getting on average about 500 points of damage, and it's been running very well.
Yeah, I did iterate on that kind of build as well. I found though, even with just regular mediums and 2 MRM10, constantly
that
firing
works
that thing
too,
gets
yeah.
really, really hot. So what I did was, I stuck with just regular mediums, and I turned one of the MRMs into an arc.
Yeah, it's just it's not bad actually. Yeah,
So,
those
yeah,
types of builds are fine.
What I
And,
did with the
yeah.
Irby is something I've mentioned earlier. I put lerms on it. It actually runs really well with a single lerm 20 and an XL170. You're going 100 kph and just spam out those lerms.
And
Yeah,
no
yeah,
other backup weapons? No tag?
Why?
I've
It's
got
an
tag.
urban mech.
That's all I need.
LRM20 is a pretty big thing to budget for. There's not much.
Yeah.
Like
What's the
it
small
sounds really stupid. It is really stupid, but it somehow works.
Well,
I mean, at least
so you're
when
not
we
wasting.
played.
You're not wasting a whole bunch of tonnage in group queue that way,
Uh-huh.
and you're still bringing something that's going to be amazingly aggravating for someone to play against because it can turn the dome all the way around and run away from you at full speed and still shoot you.
So you're
What do
saying,
you-
like, basically with our 2 Irbies combined, we should be unstoppable.
Yes, with the armor those things have now. And I know with me, granted, I have not had much time to play it all this week. I still want to test out a rocket launcher 40 snub nose and 2 medium pulse on this thing.
I thought about doing rocket 40s and then kind of like do like 2 like ER large lasers like on it, but I wasn't sure about that.
I would suggest not bringing the small lasers if you really like yourself. That snub nose is going to run so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're really going to bring the small lasers, make them ER, so at least that way you have some range.
Yeah.
I don't know. So if they're just backup, I would just bring regular smalls because you basically use them as point blank range. I'm really hot. I might as well use these instead.
And just go full Onyx and just charge in.
That was about what I was. That was what I wanted to mention. Ah, there we go. English is hard. I don't know if anyone has seen the streamer video Larsh put up with Onyx with a single small laser getting the last kill.
Going to
Yeah,
Disney
funny, I watched
World.
that was good.
Overall, though, I am glad they did give it some missile quirks. It's got the standard armor quirks, and it sits at an awkward spot, but that does mean people actually sort of ignore you, and that can actually allow you to harass, harangue, and knock people freely. Or at least that's what I've been doing.
What's funny though is like I only use 3 of the Irbies now. Like I use the new loyalty one, I use the K9, and then the R60. Those are only 3 I use. I'm thinking about selling my other 2 that I don't really play with those anymore. They just have nothing to me basically.
I'm liking that they are bringing out new interesting Irbies, but we should crack on.
Yes, crack on this.
Okay, now the
So
Griffin.
So
Griffin.
the Griffin.
It's pretty.
Awkward. It's
It's
designed
pretty, yeah.
for 4 light machine guns.
Yeah, it is definitely a machine gun carrier, and its hardpoint location is designed to give up the left side almost as soon as possible to make that not as painful.
Like I run 4 heavy machine guns, 2 tons of ammo, 2 SRM6s, 2 tons of ammo, and 2 light like mediums and the full jump jets, and it's been working out pretty well. It's more of a brawler that I use it for. It's not really designed to be a brawler per se, but it's been doing really well.
Yeah, of the Griffins, this one feels more of like the mid-range poke harass style than an actual brawler.
I think, yeah, it's a bit like sort of, I imagine, a bushwhacker where it's got a whole mix of different hardpoints. And whilst that's nice, you can do a mixed loadout, it also means it's hard to specialize in anything. Particularly since it's, unlike the bushwhacker, not a giant blob of armor. The mid-range harassing, it sort of works okay, but I find it really awkward poking and exposing with a Griffin. Like, I just much prefer brawling with Griffins. That way you can use the really good hitboxes. That way, exposing so much of your mech every time you want to poke isn't so bad, for the most part. So what I have gone for is sort of a finishing mech. 4 machine guns, SRM 12 Artemis, and 2 medium pulse lasers. So you wait until the battle's closing out, and you charge into weak mechs, open them up with those close-range brawly weapons, and machine gun down their components.
I've been noticing a lot of people been using 4 light machine guns, 2 MRM10s, and 2 snub nose. And I tried that at first. It was just way too hot for me to go use. But I mean, a lot of people have been using it though, like with some type of success.
I usually don't see it being very successful in games. Like, and not particularly, that sounds extremely hot. From my experience, people go the MRM10s, even though the 20s or just a single 40 is a lot more heat efficient, and that's what I've gone. But it's just sort of so awkward just exposing for a single MRM40, and the 2 laser hardpoints, you can't really do much with it. Some also go 1 big huge ballistic and rely on the cooldown quirk to sort of make it mildly interesting. It's the trouble with tonnage, same as sort of like the bushwhacker, whereupon yes, you can fit a couple of ballistics with an XL engine, but that usually isn't actually that amazing.
But I have to say though, one of the greatest things about this thing is the artwork it has on the arms itself.
It is really pretty.
Gorgeous.
It's pretty.
Very pretty.
So they've done a good job making it look nice.
I mean, they've done a good job on all the new mechs that came out, so props to the designer who did these.
Yeah,
definitely.
The loyalty mechs have always sort of been there for unique and interesting gimmicks, and now the Griffin can take its ballistics if it wants. It can take a mixed loadout. It's just really hard to make that thing really, really beautiful in a fight. Thus far.
And you can put dual light Gauss in the arm, and it does okay. But again, I wouldn't recommend it because it's just it seems awkward.
Yeah.
So speaking of pretty mechs, should we move up to linebacker then?
I was going to say Victor for pretty.
I can't show it
both of them are really pretty.
I don't have it.
I was a whale this time and I got it.
Yep, jump jet linebacker. I've played with it with its original hardpoints, and missing all those armor quirks, at least on the torsos, does make you feel very squishy. Also, having just 11 tons of pod space or thereabouts, it really limits what you can actually build with it.
Yeah, I think I have gone with I went with 5 medium lasers and 6 extra heat sinks, and I'm mostly just using it to as mobility and firepower, as more of a kind of like a light mech than anything.
Yep.
Bounce around, poke stuff, and then run away.
Yeah, I went 5 medium pulse, 1 extra heat sink, and it's quite a fun jump, snipe, poke around corners and harass mech. The thing with harassing like that in such a large, obvious target is I hate it every single time people start shooting back at me. I'm like, no, I made him cardboard, stop it!
I've made bad life choices, leave me alone.
I also suffered a little from no CT armor, because it has the energy hardpoint instead of the armor, meaning even if I'm torso twisting, I'll die from CT death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually still like brawling with the thing. I really like jump jets when I go brawling, so what I did is just use one of the jump jet side torso, and I can live with the 10 armor points less. And it just improves my standard linebacker loadouts, like I've got 5 SRM6s on this one.
Yeah, I think in realistic builds you don't want to put all 6 tons towards the jump jets. I will say though it is very good at jump jetting with all 6.
Yeah, it does things it shouldn't.
Yeah, it has a jump distance of 48.
It scares a lot of light mechs. I have seen a lot of wolfhounds like hit the brakes and spin around as fast as they can as soon as they see me show up with it.
If only we had death from above in this game.
Oh, yes.
February.
Everywhere?
Bob. He's talking about the harebrained schemes thing.
Oh, yes, yes.
From what I heard,
Okay.
February.
So we got 10 minutes left until we're reaching about an hour, guys. So let's crack on with the Victor.
Sure, Victor.
Victor, yay, the victim.
It's a very pretty flower.
It
Pretty
strikes
flower.
me as a meme mech. It's something that people will do interesting things in because it can, and not because it's good.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite.
I think at least in retrospect, it's sort of like with the quirks, what they've done is they've given it most of the standard kind of armor stuff. However, for the side torsos, they half the amount of armor it gives, and actually instead it's structure. So instead of having 16 armor extra on the side torsos, it's just 8 extra on the sides for structure, which makes it very squishy when you're actually trying to boat like ballistics in the side torsos.
There's no armor buffs on the torsos.
I know, that's why I'm saying, normally it's 16 armor. Instead, no, it's 8 and it's structure.
Yeah. The actual armor would be way better.
Yeah. So I think they were a little bit too conservative in that regard. Like the Victor does have all those armor quirks to give it a lot of help. It's still I still have had quite some success with it, and I've seen quite a few people have some success with it, but it can be very punishing if you are caught out of position.
Yeah, because again, I haven't had much time to play. This is probably the one I'm looking forward to most using. Can't wait to actually just do some dumb things with it.
Of the loyalty mechs, it feels the most awkward to me, but that's maybe because it doesn't necessarily fit my playstyle. It's just kind of odd-ish.
Pokemon.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I found at least, doing the dual heavy gorse, it's fairly effective, though you do have to be very careful with positioning, because, those side torsos only have structure, you're only an 80 tonner, and you can be torn apart fairly easily, but that's like a lot of the, lighter heavy gorse mechs. And that I've seen a lot of that running about. My own particular invention is using the huge missile cooldown quirk. It only has 1 missile hardpoint, and that is a 20% cooldown. MRM40 with AC20 both effectively have the same cooldown, the same turnover rate, such that I can fire a 60-point alpha, torso twist, fire 60-point alpha every 4 seconds. It's an awkward kind of brawler, but it's actually, I've had a lot of fun in that one, along with the dual heavy gorse.
Sounds really fun, actually.
I would say at least the thing with the Victor and a lot of people's impressions about it is partly that they aren't used to piloting Victors and finding how sort of weird it is to feel to pilot it. It's sort of like, I was going to say imagine being in a trebuchet, but then I remember most people don't play trebuchets. But the thing is, you're sort of a trebuchet you get a trebuchet and then you give it a lot of steroids, and then it gets bigger and bigger and musclier, and that's a Victor.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't see much trebuchets being played though. To tell you the truth, not that many.
Sadly, no.
I quite like the trebuchets, but I always need to sort of carry the team.
So it's a really good mech in the upcoming Battletech game from HBS. Go and buy it.
Trebuchets have quite some survival quirks, and they have some quite good weapon quirks. So a bit like the Inner Sphere Ryan, if you like some oddball mechs that are actually quite effective, trebuchets are quite good. Same with the Victor, but this particular Victor, no, it doesn't have the saving quirks to really make it shine. Still, it's okay. in my opinion.
Victor's the
It's still scary.
fusion combo.
It's still scary to go fight one of those, especially like if you're in an Irby. I fought many of those guys. I'm like, crap.
So the one interesting build I've come across on the Loyalty Victor is the 3 small pulse lasers, 2 rotary 5s at LBX10. You do have to take an XL engine, and you don't get jump jets, but it does have kind of like an odd firepower group on it.
I would also say, at least for the dual ballistic side torso mechs, this one is the only one where you can sort of run a lot of jump jets.
Yeah.
And those ballistics. Like, I did throw together a theory build, which was like max jump jet and 2 LB20s and 3 smalls. So you jump snipe with 2 LB20s, which sounds just, at least it's something unique and kind of might be mildly effective on paper.
And Beef also did a stream where he was running a triple AC-20 Victor.
What?
Yeah, how much armor?
I think he had it at full armor. I think he didn't have a whole lot of ammo, and I think he was running the smallest light engine he could in it. He also tried to go to triple LBX-20, but he couldn't make it fit.
The trouble is with like the Victor and something like the Zeus, 80 tons, you're only just slightly heavier than a heavy, but you still sort of want to start now getting assault, mech payloads. And for in a sphere, it's just so hard fitting in, all that stuff when XL engines make you so fragile.
Yeah, true. So I think we got 3 minutes. You want to take any questions from anybody? Does anyone have any questions?
No, the chat's been kind of slow tonight, probably because of my being stupid earlier.
It's all good. Okay, well then.
Last thing is the daily challenges, I think.
Oh, yeah, daily challenges.
Yeah, there is daily challenges coming up, which they're in effect right now.
So basically, every day, obviously, you have a daily challenge, and they're pretty easy. You play during the day, you're pretty much going to get it. To tell you the truth, it's real easy to go do.
Because it's only every day. Yeah, they're setting the bar quite nice and low for the most part.
I mean, it's been pretty much every daily challenge for the most part, which I'm liking how they've lowered the I don't know, the requirements, and now it's just like play the game and you get free stuff. That's what it kind of boils down to.
They're also throwing a couple million C builds each time.
Yes, which can add up.
I'm gonna say on average 4 to 5 games for 1.5 million C builds per day.
That's not bad.
Oh, and the I didn't realize it, or maybe I wasn't paying attention earlier, but the last one does give a mech bay.
Yep.
Oh,
nice. That's good. Get a 2 kills or KMDDs in each type of, or 5 kills depending on what it is. So
yeah,
that should be nice. 2 kills, 2 KMDDs, and 5 for the lights and mediums. So not too bad. Oh, 5 kills, assists in the light and mediums, and then 2 kills or KMDDs for the heavy and the assaults. You get a mech bay. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That's 4 matches.
Yeah, for the vacation holiday time, yeah, they're trying to throw in a lot of events, though it's just event after event after event, but that's what you have to do, I guess, to keep people playing.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're making them. I think they're making them simpler overall because they've gotten a lot of flack the last couple of years where they've done this holiday season shenanigans with the harder to achieve goals, and everyone's just yelling at them on the forums because that's what the forums exist for. They don't exist for discourse; they exist to yell at the developer because they think they're not doing a good enough job.
Well, I mean, in the past events, I think we can all attest to getting burnt out by year end. Yeah. So I enjoy these nice little ones where I can just go in, play for like 2 hours, and there I go, and then I can go off and do something else.
At least it's not like Battlefront 2.
The 40 hours?
Oh god.
Let's not talk about that one, or we're all gonna get really angry.
I didn't think it was that bad until I didn't realize it was more of a pay to win story, and then I got mad.
Just incidentally for us, so what was it? Larsh had installed the new NVIDIA drivers, and that was causing you a lot of problems. So even though you weren't playing Battlefront 2, it was causing you problems.
Yeah,
Battlefield 2, I think it is.
Oh, Battlefront 2. Yeah, well, basically, I almost wasn't able to stream because of the update to the NVIDIA graphics driver for Battlefront really screwed my computer up for about like an hour and a half. I didn't think I was going to... Yeah.
The best part about all this is, I bet it's because the drivers were optimized for Windows 7.
Probably.
Oh, fuck. I just remembered that I forgot to update mine.
Don't do it.
Hey, Lemming.
Hey, Lemming.
We were waiting for you to join, but you never did.
Yeah. Oh.
So I joined, and then I tried to talk, and then the button that mutes my mic got stuck. So I had to dismantle my headset controller with a little screwdriver. And then by the time I came back in, you guys were talking about like the new maps and the new map and the Thanatos, and I'm like, well, I have no fucking idea.
That's fair enough. Well, but I think we're actually be wrapping it up shortly here.
So has this week just been like a tech issue week for everybody but me?
Yeah, don't worry, Atha. It's going to hit you soon.
I literally thought I was not going to play games anymore until I got another computer. That's how bad it was. I mean, literally, man, I was scared. I'm like, no, I can't play more games anymore, damn it.
Well, I was playing Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and alt-tabbing during a loading screen just gave me a blank screen, so I had to repair the disk and after a restart.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I think I'm the only one who hasn't had a technical difficulty yet this week.
Yeah.
You've lucked out. You have lucked out for sure.
The money well spent on my computer.
Go ahead and brag more.
Brag.
Hey, yours have the same stats as mine, more or less.
Surprisingly, granted,
Yeah.
I pieced it together over years in tax refunds or
taxes.
Yeah.
Wrap.
Okay,
up.
so sorry, go ahead.
I said wrap up.
Yes.
So I guess this is this is 15, right?
Yeah, we're on 15. This is it.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
15 episodes of the First Circuit podcast. Not bad. Good group of people, good group of like listeners and thank you very much everybody for listening to our rants and raves, and also our great advice we give to everybody as well too. We do, we try to have fun and different things that are going on, and have great people, a great slew of podcasters here that know what they're talking about. And me, I have no clue what I'm talking about. So, so everybody, thank you for watching. This is Old Bob 10025 checking out for episode 15 of the First Circuit podcast. Everyone else do your spiels. And whoever wants to go next.
All right, this has been Larsh, your casual Mechwarrior. Mostly quiet today due to sore throat, but getting better after drinking a full can of Monster Punch and possible live stream. No theme tonight, just maybe a live stream after this.
All right, see you guys later.
Bye. That goes Biter. For the community, if you see me in a fat mech, follow me. I'll be at the front of the fight. And if you see me in something light, don't follow me for the love of God.
Yeah, do not follow him whatsoever. Oh my God.
Well,
if I am in a medium mech, do not follow me because I'm going on an adventure and it's going to be bad.
Not true, because the video that will be released at midnight on my channel shows me following you, and we won.
Because they got hot.
Okay, Ian?
I'm not streaming, so I'm just going to say bye.
Okay.
Hey, oh, and thank you to DragonLock69 for the follow just now.
Oh, thank you, Dragon.
Thank you, Dragon.
And Commander Lemming, thank you for stopping by the way, too.
Best exit ever.
He was here.
He was
See you
here
guys later, and I'll see you.
I participated. Where's my trophy?